Hi, Kathy White, Certified Professional Ergonomist. We're talking today about the keyboard and how to best use it to maintain your health from an ergonomics perspective. First, let's talk about what height you want to be working at when you're using your keyboard. Ideally, you're working at about elbow height with your forearms approximately parallel to the floor. When I started my assessment, I realized that my chair was too low, and so I adjusted it. I still have my feet flat on the floor, and I'm working at about elbow height. A lot of keyboards, not this one, but I have seen a number of them, actually maybe this one, now that I'm looking at it, have these legs that prop up your keyboard on the back, and then when operating, you may notice a deviated wrist position when you have those legs out. A lot of times when I'm doing assessments, I ask the user to try to bring those legs in and flatten out that keyboard to promote what we call a more neutral wrist posture, having that wrist in line with the forearm. Take a look at your keyboard to see if you may have the ability to flatten out. Sometimes people I see will prop up their keyboards on something so that they have what I would call a negative slope from this direction to the back side of the keyboard. That can be okay. Once again, looking at maintaining that neutral wrist posture. It's that positive slope where I will normally see some wrist deviation. Try to keep the front edge of your keyboard aligned with the front edge of the work surface. That way your hands are just floating over the keyboard and you don't have your wrist pressing on the front edge of this work surface. Another common pattern that I see is people like to move the keyboard so far away from themselves and they're resting their elbows on the work surface. This can be similar to the underside of the wrist, another source of contact stress. I would recommend you try to keep that keyboard close to you, keep that reach close, and try when you're operating to keep your elbows close to your body. You're floating your hands freely. You can also use the armrests if you have armrests on your chair to give you some additional support here. Make sure you're using a light touch when you're typing. This is something you want to pay attention to. Some people, I call it attacking the keyboard when typing, using a lot of force. So that force combined with other elements like high repetition, awkward postures, can increase your risk of a musculoskeletal disorder. Try to look at your screen while you're typing. This can be really difficult if you're not familiar with where your keys are located. I see a lot of people apply what I call the hunt and peck approach when they're typing and they're looking for the key and they're pressing it. So trying to learn where your keys are located so that you're able to type and just look at the screen straight ahead with your head in what I would call a neutral position. That helps with bending. Bending the head forward can put a lot of stress on your neck when you are typing. Those are just a few tips and tricks. The final one I will share is around repetition. Try to pace your work. Some people get very engaged in their work. They are typing so fast, and I understand sometimes there's a performance aspect where you're expected to type a certain number of words per minute, but that repetition can introduce a lot of strain to your body. There are softwares that are available to warn you when you're typing very quickly. They can pop up on the screen as a reminder. You can also apply a buddy system. If you're in an open office environment, you can all watch each other and call each other out in a kind manner if you notice that somebody is attacking the keyboard or having some pretty repetitive work where a break would be appropriate to take. And that buddy system can kind of help keep each other in check, because a lot of times we don't even realize the things we're doing because we get so engaged in our work. Again, I hope these tips were helpful and they're things that you can apply when you are using your keyboard. Thanks for listening.